Imagine being born the favored son of the world's most powerful queen, only to wake up one morning as a ghost in your own country. In early 2026, the man the world knew as Prince Andrew didn't just lose his home, he lost his very existence. Every title, every honor, and every trace of his royal identity has been systematically scrubbed from the history books by his own brother. Today, he sits in a small, wind-swept farmhouse on the edge of the North Sea, a place historically used by the monarchy to hide their most shameful secrets. The gates of Royal Lodge are locked, the staff has walked out, and as the Commonwealth prepares a final legal move to ensure he never touches the crown, one thing is clear: the fairy tale is over, and the era of Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor has been deleted. But as he sits in the silence of his new gilded cage, the world is asking, what was the final straw that made the king decide his own brother was too toxic to keep?
The man formerly known as the Duke of York didn't just lose his office, he has been effectively deleted from the global map. In a move that has sent shockwaves from London to Canberra, the Commonwealth has begun the Great Erasure. This isn't just a demotion, it's a systematic scrubbing of 1,000 years of history. Across the globe, the dominoes are falling with brutal precision. In Canada and Australia, emergency parliamentary sessions have been called with one single goal: to officially strike his name from the line of succession. For the first time in modern history, a royal bloodline is being treated like a digital error that needs to be purged. But the most stinging betrayal didn't come from politicians. It came from the very people who used to bow to him. Reports have surfaced of a widespread staff strike within the royal household. Long-serving employees, people who spent decades maintaining the illusion of his grandeur, are now flatly refusing to step foot on the Sandringham estate to serve him. They've cited ethical discomfort and moral objections to his continued presence. Imagine being a man who once had hundreds of people at his beck and call, only to find that not a single person is willing to pour your tea or iron your shirt. The silence in his new, modest farmhouse is deafening. His 66th birthday, usually a day of gun salutes and gala dinners, passed in a chilling void. No official social media posts, no public well-wishes, just a man sitting in a quiet room on the edge of the North Sea, watching his life's work vanish in real time. He is no longer a prince, he is no longer a duke, he is now simply a problem that the world is tired of solving. But as the Commonwealth prepares the final legal signatures to ensure he never touches the crown again, a much darker shadow is beginning to loom over his new front door. Because while the public is busy erasing his name, the legal system is busy opening a file that was supposed to stay buried forever.
The Epstein files were always described as a ticking time bomb, but in early 2026, the timer finally hit zero. For years, the public was told that the most sensitive documents regarding the late financier's inner circle were under lock and key. That changed when a massive data dump, totaling over 2 million internal records, was leaked to the press. Hidden within those digital folders was the smoking gun the palace had feared for decades. It wasn't just about social connections or questionable dinners anymore. The new evidence points to a massive breach of trust. Allegations that the man once known as the Duke of York used his official capacity as a UK trade envoy to funnel confidential information to his billionaire associates. This is the 2026 legal hammer that changed everything. We aren't just talking about a social scandal, we're talking about misconduct in public office. For the first time, the protection of the crown has been completely withdrawn. Usually, the monarch's family is shielded by an invisible wall of lawyers and tradition, but King Charles III has issued a statement that has frozen the blood of every royal courtier. He didn't offer a defense, he didn't ask for privacy, he simply stated, "The law must take its course." It was the ultimate green light for investigators. Suddenly, the private citizen living in the marshes of Norfolk found himself in the crosshairs of a full-scale criminal inquiry. The immunity is gone. The royal hush money has dried up. Every flight log, every wire transfer, and every midnight phone call is now being scrutinized by people who don't care about his lineage. But as the legal walls close in, a second betrayal was brewing behind closed doors, one that would hit him harder than any court summons. Because while the lawyers were building their case, the one person who had stayed by his side for 30 years was finally preparing her own exit strategy. The most contented divorced couple in the world has officially become a memory. For decades, the woman formerly known as the Duchess of York was his last line of defense, the loyal companion who shared his home, his secrets, and his scandals. But as of early 2026, that shield has shattered. In a move that caught even palace insiders off guard, she has finally walked away. The golden handcuffs are off. Recent reports suggest she has scrubbed her schedule of any mention of her former husband. She isn't just moving out of his shadow, she's moving out of his life entirely. While he was being ushered toward the isolation of Norfolk, she was spotted house hunting in the high-end suburbs of London, alone. The silence from her camp is deafening. No more public statements of support. No more humorous anecdotes about their unconventional friendship. Insiders claim the turning point was a series of intercepted emails linked to the late financier's estate. These weren't just business notes. They were personal, they were damaging, and for a woman who has spent years trying to rehabilitate her own image for the sake of her daughter's futures, they were the final straw. She realized that staying by his side was no longer an act of loyalty, it was professional and social suicide. To save her own brand, she had to let him drown. For the first time in over 30 years, the man once second in line to the throne is truly, hauntingly alone. No title, no staff, and now no partner. But as he sits in the growing darkness of his new residence, he isn't just facing a lonely retirement, he is facing a house that many believe was built specifically to break those who enter it. Because his new home isn't just a farmhouse, it's a place with a history of disappearing people. The 5-bedroom cottage at Wood Farm is more than just a house, it's a terminal station for the unwanted. To the casual observer, it looks like a cozy retreat where the late Queen and Prince Philip once escaped the cameras. But for the man whose royal identity has just been incinerated, this relocation is the ultimate ghosting by the crown. There is a reason this specific property was chosen for his internal exile. Within the family, Wood Farm is whispered about as the banishment house, a place where the monarchy sends those who have become a threat to the institution's survival. The cottage's most haunting association belongs to Prince John, the Lost Prince. Born in 1905, John was the youngest child of King George V. When he began suffering from severe seizures, the medical ignorance of the era labeled him a shameful secret. At just 11 years old, he was whisked away to Wood Farm, hidden from public view and effectively erased from the royal narrative. He lived out his final years in total seclusion, cared for by a nanny and a handful of staff, never again permitted to stand beside his siblings at official events. He died there at the age of 13, a boy the world was encouraged to forget. By placing him in this exact same house, King Charles isn't just offering his brother a place to sleep. He is sending a chilling symbolic message: you are now a ghost. The grand 30-room royal lodge in Windsor, with its sprawling gardens and elite security, was a fortress of relevance. Wood Farm is a cage of isolation. There are no ceremonial gates here, no police protection teams flanking the perimeter, just a muddy track leading to a house that overlooks the cold grey of the North Sea. The isolation is absolute. Reports have surfaced that he is no longer allowed to ride his horses on the main estate, a favourite pastime that is now considered a bad look for a man in his position. He is a prisoner of his own reputation, confined to a cottage that has seen more royal tears than triumphs. But as the shadows of the past close in around him, the man who was once the Randy Andy of the tabloids is discovering that the banishment house is only the beginning, because while the house is quiet, the public's demand for a final permanent erasure is reaching a fever pitch.
The transition from Royal Lodge to the windswept isolation of Norfolk represents a journey that is likely one way. For the man now known simply as Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor, the world has shrunk to the size of a 5-bedroom farmhouse. The prestige is gone, the titles have been deleted, and for the first time in nearly 4 centuries, the divine right of a senior royal has been replaced by the cold reality of a police interview room. But this story is about more than just one man's downfall. It's a turning point for the British monarchy itself. By allowing the Epstein files to finally trigger a criminal investigation, King Charles III has made a high-stakes gamble. He has sacrificed his own brother to save the crown, sending a message to the world that no one, not even a son of the Queen, is above the law. As the gates of Marsh Farm are reinforced and the Commonwealth prepares to strike the final names from the line of succession, we are left with a haunting image. A man who was once second in line to the throne, now relegated to the same banishment house that once hid the family's most tragic secrets. The royal career of the former Duke is finished, but as the investigation widens, the public is left wondering how many more secrets are still waiting to be unearthed in the marshes of Sandringham. One thing is certain: the silence at Wood Farm is no longer a sanctuary, it's a countdown.